It's the 15th of July, and this is your News Bite brought to you by eNCA.com. I'm Marcel Gordon, and in your news today, Matlala fights to delay his testimony at the Madlanga Commission, President Ramaphosa starts his bid to pause his impeachment process, and Argentina and England square up for a historic World Cup clash. The Madlanga Commission spent most of the day hearing heated legal arguments over whether alleged underworld figure Vusimuzi Matlala can be compelled to take the stand. Matlala was seeking to postpone his testimony following his decision to reject a plea deal with the state. Matlala's lawyer, Annelien van den Heever, argued that she could not allow her client to testify on issues that may incriminate him. But inquiry chairperson Cele Madlanga insists otherwise.
I am saying I'm not interested in the nitty-gritty of what falls under the Section 35 bucket. I'm not interested in that nitty-gritty. I'm looking at the broader question of, on those issues on which there is no question whatsoever, which can be dealt with by this commission, and you've agreed that there are. On those questions, why can't those questions be heard before the criminal process has been finalized? Whether, even accepting, as you argue, that there are some issues coming out of the plea deal which fall under the Section 35 basket, even accepting that, you have said there are some which do not fall under that basket, and my focus is only on those aspects that do not fall under that basket. So clearly, what you've just said about the plea deal is irrelevant to my question.
With the greatest of respect, it's not irrelevant, Chairperson, because I cannot at this point in all, as an officer of the court, distinguish between what we can answer and what we can't answer. We can only say to you, the only things...
You will never understand me. Please go on to the next point.
No, I do understand you quite clearly. The only issues that my client can answer, Chairperson, at this point, that we say that we form common cause on is who he doesn't know on the list of the 10-6. The rest of the issues, if I may please, the rest of the issues, I cannot say to you, I am prepared to answer this because I don't know if I can.
I have not asked you that. You are trying to answer a question which I have not asked you. I have not asked you that question.
Madlanga Commission evidence leader, Advocate Cele, says Matlala's postponement bid is a calculated delay tactic.
On reading the affidavit in support of the application for postponement, one must bear in mind that we appeared before you on the 7th of July. Everything that is in that affidavit predates our appearance. And it is at that appearance, notwithstanding the facts as asserted in that affidavit, an undertaking was made. So if those facts were not relevant prior to the 7th, and the very facts, notwithstanding the very facts, they were able to make specific undertakings, which included filing by the 8th of July and appearing on the 15th. I truly do not understand how then they become relevant come the 15th. They revive, they suddenly become relevant. The challenge with this application is nothing in the affidavit speaks to the period between the 7th and the 15th. Nothing happened that even threatened the undertaking made to you on the 7th, Chair. So the question is, why must I entertain this entire argument, if not to waste the Commission's time?
Proceedings have begun into the urgent bid by President Cyril Ramaphosa to halt Parliament's Section 89 impeachment process. The President wants to pause the committee's work while he challenges the independent panel report that found he had a case to answer over his Phala Phala farm theft scandal. Let's listen to his counsel Wim Trentgrove in the High Court in Cape Town.
That the President does not want to appear before the impeachment committee to tell his side of the story. But that is pure emotive propaganda. The President has given his side of the story again and again and again. His account of the events in question have been given to the independent panel. It's referred to in the annexed to the panel's report. That's a matter of public record, part of the Rule 53 record of this court. The independent panel's report at pages 1627 to 1661 is given his account to the public protector. Her report is also in the review papers as MCR 7. He's given his account to the South African Revenue Service. Its report is at MCR 8. He's given his account to the South African Reserve Bank, and its report is at MCR 9. And he's also given evidence to the Standing Committee on Intelligence.
The EFF, meanwhile, is accusing the president of stalling. Here's their Treasurer General, Umpile Matwe.
He knows that there's no merit of him turning down the Concord judgment. Worse, trying to argue that the matter is urgent. How is it urgent when the matter has been on the books for over 4 years? So there's no merit in terms of the urgency of this matter, and that's what we're arguing. Even the review application that he wants to bring, he has brought to the Western Cape High Court, it's not going to fly. When we went to vote there in court, he had already filed papers for the review of that report. When he realized that he's got majority of the members, he then withdrew that application. So what makes it now possible for him to bring that back, that very same review? So he's not going to win.
On to the Kampepe Commission, which is examining claims that TRC cases were unlawfully delayed by the state or investigations abandoned. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula gave his testimony on Wednesday. He was Deputy Police Minister and then Police Minister for periods of time in 2009 and then 2017. He says families of Apartheid-Era victims deserve answers and justice.
Declaring the conduct of the respondents in unlawfully refraining and or obstructing the investigation and or prosecution of Apartheid-Era cases referred to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, to the NPA, i.e. TRC cases, or to have abandoned or undermined such cases to be a violation of the rights of the Galata applicants, the families of victims and survivors of Apartheid-Era crimes, to equality, dignity, and the right to life and bodily integrity in terms of Section 9, 10, 11, and 12 of the Constitution.
Now, former Police Minister Bheki Cele has also appeared before the Commission. He says he could not personally drive investigations into Apartheid-Era crimes while he was the National Police Commissioner. During his testimony, Cele insisted the responsibility was with a specialized unit within the Hawks, tasked with investigating crimes against the state. He says he too still wants answers.
It would be good and to know what happened to all these comrades and who ordered their murder and all that. My mentality and my understanding of this was not to stop that happening, but was to say they should not be carried by the very same people that they wanted to see them dead, eliminated, and not exist. They should do that from their own steam. They should pay for the sins that they've created. For me, it was too easy and too light and too soft for them to be given that opportunity to be paid for by the state by the people that they wanted to see them eliminated anyway.
An Eastern Cape government official accused of faking his qualifications is back in the dock. Sizwe Kupelo faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted of allegedly forging his matric certificate. He failed in his bid to have the case thrown out. He is reflecting on his achievements before court.
Another milestone which I attribute to myself, former Education Minister Cardoso and the cabinet at the time had taken a decision to close down the University of Transkei. There was unhappiness about that. On the 11th hour, I decided to host a special program. Requested the station manager then, Mr. Ndaka, to allow me the special program, which was initially scheduled for 6 to 7. I got the university management into the studio, and I got the DG, National Education DG, on the line. That broadcast saved what is called WUSU today, because the university was able to challenge the Department of Education.
In other news we're keeping an eye on, US President Donald Trump has backtracked on his plans to impose a 20% fee on cargo passing through the important Strait of Hormuz. He now says the charge will be placed by major trade and investment agreements with Gulf states. The move comes as the US forces launched a fresh wave of strikes on Iranian targets, escalating tensions in one of the world's most strategically important shipping routes. Iran has vowed to continue to retaliate on US military assets in Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait.
We're hitting them very heavy tonight, as you know. We have tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have numbers that we haven't had in years. And we're hitting them very hard, and it'll continue, and we'll see what happens. But we're knocking out all of their offensive capability, and we're controlling the straits. We're putting the blockade back. And the strait is open. It will be open. We've cut down their capability very substantially, but they're going to fight for a while. They don't have any military. There's not a thing they can do about it. All they have is fake news, because they have the fake news, would rather see us lose the war than win the war, which is really treasonous in a certain way.
New York has become the first U.S. state to halt construction of large new data centers, imposing a 1-year moratorium as concerns grow that the facilities driving the artificial intelligence boom are raising power cuts, straining water supplies, and burdening local communities. And hundreds of French firefighters, aided by water bombers, are battling wildfires that have ravaged a hugely popular forest outside Paris as another scorching heatwave grips the capital. The fires that erupted on Sunday have now scorched some 2,050 hectares. On to the world of sports. With Spain showing France the World Cup exit with an impressive 2-0 victory, it's now down to Argentina and England for that final spot in the final. Argentina fans have already been gathering in various places in the US to cheer on their team ahead of the historic clash. The two sides share a long-drawn rivalry starting in 1966, with their latest meeting at the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan. The match kicks off at 9 p.m. tonight at Atlanta Stadium. Closer to home, Mamelodi Sundowns head coach Miguel Cardoso has paid an emotional tribute to midfielder Jayden Adams following his passing. He spoke about the close bond they developed after Adams joined Downs from Stellenbosch. He says Adams quickly became part of the Sundowns family and left a lasting impact on everyone at the club.
You liked simple things. You liked that toothpick on the corner of your mouth, that look with socks and flip-flops, that bending of the head almost every time we interacted with you, and always, yes, coach. Yeah, what a guy you were, special indeed. I spoke about you several times. I said you are an intelligent player, capable to play in many positions, adaptive to the systems and tactically very well developed, that you made us play better, much better. You gave me every day the answer I asked for when I first saw you playing on that match, because you could play almost everywhere. You spoke about me. The coach made me a different player. If difference is the quality you spread everywhere, we played absolutely so much. I'm absolutely fulfilled and overwhelmed as a coach. You made me better coach by the football you helped us to play. This moment we live is devastating and all comes back to me. Miklos Feyer in FC Porto, Maicon in Shakhtar Donetsk, Emiliano Sala in FC Nantes. And now you, my dear boy, Jayden Adams. We just spoke a few days ago. All looked normal, all looked peaceful, exactly like you were. Life teaches me every day that the coach must be much more from the players than from the game. I hope I can apply that even more as we move forward, because we will move forward. We will, as you surely wished, battling from now on always with 12 men, and we will carry you in our hearts everywhere we'll go.
On to rugby, Springbok centre Lukhanyo says the All Blacks remain the ultimate benchmark for the back-to-back world champs. South Africa will face New Zealand 4 times in the highly anticipated rugby's greatest rivalry series from the 22nd of August to the 12th of September.
It's definitely one team that you build up towards, because you always excited playing against the All Blacks. I mean, as a kid or any other player, you want to face the haka, you want to face the best, and it's always been that way. Us gauging ourselves against the best, which is the All Blacks. So yeah, it's gonna be really amazing. I mean, was it 2024? We've played 2 tests back to back, Mbombela and Ellis Park, and you saw the results from the first game we won, the second they took it. So it's always been like that, tight game of margins. So it will really be interesting how it will be of going 4 games in a row.
And finally, a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton nicknamed Gus has made history after selling for a record $50.1 million at an auction in New York. The 67-million-year-old dinosaur specimen is one of the most complete T-Rex skeletons ever discovered. Scientists recovered more than 60% of its bones. While the buyer remains anonymous, scientists say the record-breaking sale could signal a new era of high-end fossil collecting by the ultra-wealthy. Well, that's how we wrap today's News Bite. For developments in these and more, keep an eye on eNCA.com and DSTV Channel 403.